So it's
Yeah, I
so
love that.
free. So my anxiety, I don't have anxiety. I always say I wasn't depressed. I just lived in the US. So you notice in these places, people don't suffer with a lot of the health issues that we suffer with, as far as like diabetes, high blood pressure, those kinds of things, where in America, that's typical. I had gained a lot of weight. When I was in Atlanta, I got up to 210. Yeah, so now you got access to what I call the farm to table experience, not farm to the warehouse filled with pesticides and then give it to you. But now you're not dealing with a lot of hormonal issues because of food.
Welcome back to my channel, Shy Baby here, and today I have an incredibly special episode for you. If you are new here, this is the space where we dive into lifestyle, side hustle, and business gems that can help you improve the quality of your life and business and build a business you love. Lately, you all know that I have just been thriving and just living my best life abroad. Absolutely love it. Travel has been such a big part of my life for the past few years now, and to be able to move abroad or live abroad with my family is just life changing. So, a little backstory about me is that I was actually born and raised in Jamaica, right? And I later moved to the US. I would say late teens, young adults, 17, 18, with family. And I later became a US citizen. While my move back then wasn't completely my choice, or I guess technically I had a choice, right? I want to make it clear that I am very appreciative of all like the life experiences and opportunities that I've had along the way that has helped even shape me and mold me to who I am today. However, it is so empowering to intentionally build a life and create a life that I love with my family abroad. And that's why I'm so excited about today's conversation. Today, I'm sitting down with Lonnie, a woman who is doing just that and more. Lonnie is a vibrant woman of God who is a thriving entrepreneur and a fearless solo traveler. Let me tell you, she is fearless, okay? Who left the US to embark on a new journey of living abroad. In this episode, we'll talk about what's life like navigating as a Christian woman, an entrepreneur, a digital nomad, all of the above, and a solo traveler in Southeast Asia. We'll dive into her faith, her experiences, and how she is building her dream life abroad, as well as lessons she's learned along the way. So grab your tea, get comfy, and let's get into this inspiring and open-hearted convo with Lonnie. Hey, Lonnie. Hey,
Hey,
beautiful lady.
good.
How are you? Can you hear me? Well,
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you really well.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I had to double check everything in the background. Hey, thanks for joining me today, by the way. You look beautiful.
Yes, this is exciting. I like this format. We look clear. We look good. I hope we look
Yeah,
good. We look good.
we do. I love it. I love it. I already so earlier I gave you a quick intro uh earlier, but I'd love for you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Absolutely, you guys. So, hey, I am Miss Lonnie Grant. I am a kingdom global builder, and I just go around serving God and telling people about God. I'm a mother of two. What else about me? And I am a prophetic dancer as well. That's who I am. And just living
Awesome.
life on God's terms.
Yeah. Love it, love it, love it. Like I said, I already introduced you earlier, but you guys, one of the reasons why I have Lonnie on today's podcast is because she's so amazing, first of all. She is a fearless solo traveler, right? Who's living her best life abroad. And that's why I'm so excited to dive into this episode because that's something that I'm truly passionate about. I'm sure my audience knows this by now. I've been sharing my new life abroad here and there and all of these things. And so I was like, I have to get you on because I want to hear your perspective on just being a solo traveler, entrepreneur, being a woman, of God, a Christian walk, all of those things, right? And I'm sure other believers out there, they are wondering if they can continue their spiritual walk, continue to build their community, right, of other believers while abroad. So I'm excited to dive into that. And just watching you and seeing you thrive, how happy you are and all of that, I was like, I have to get you on the episode. I have to get you on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I want to start with asking what really inspired you, right, to leave the US and start this journey of living abroad?
So, what inspired me was leaving the acting industry. I just knew. So, before getting to Bali, I was an actress in Atlanta, Georgia. And for so long, I did things my way. I've done, I always done great things, but it was never God's purpose. And we know what that's like, right? Like we're good at a job, we're good at an activity, we're good at a certain thing, but maybe that's not God's purpose for us. So what inspired me to leave is always knowing that I had bigger, something was bigger in me. And it's not until the acting industry went on strike where God set me down and I started fasting and praying. I realized I had gained so much weight during that time in Atlanta, almost like 50 something pounds that I put on. So God, like, hold on. If you are going to surrender to my will and do my purpose, what I want for you, you got to get healthy first. So I started to lose the weight and he showed me Bali. He kept showing me this peaceful place, this place with kind people, this place where he was really about to make my name great amongst nations. Like, I was like, okay, God, okay. But I had to surrender. So I left. I was like, it was scary. I'm like, oh my God, how am I tell my kids? My kids are adults now. I'm like, how am I tell my kids? Like, what is going on, God? You really want me to get on this 20 something hour flight and do this? My inspiration came from God fasting and praying, you guys.
Wow. And how old are your kids, or were your kids?
20, my daughter is about to be 22 and 24. And my son is
Okay.
24.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you have, yeah, so you have adult children. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's how you decided on Bali, right? Have you been there before?
Nope. Never visited. Didn't even know how far Bali was. And I kept tug of warring with a guy like, no, no, no. Maybe I can go to Mexico. It's closer. So it's kind of on the same time zone. I could be closer to my kids. But God was like, no, I got to push you forward. What I have in you and what I placed in you is bigger than you will ever see. It's going to blow your mind.
Yeah. And how would you say, since being in Bali, right, since God gave you that clear vision, very distinct, what has been the most rewarding part of living in Bali?
For me, I think seeing how God is transforming me, being out of my familiar place. I think for so long, I tried to heal from my childhood trauma in that environment, in the same environment that broke me. And it's not until I started to see myself evolve or other people notice these changes, even my kids, to talk to them daily and they're witnessing a whole new person. And most of us who are probably watching this interview right now may experience childhood trauma. And we know we hear breaking generational curses all the time, but we try to do it in the same place that broke us. And we find ourselves keep trying to heal and we're like, why am I not changing? Or feel like it's changing for a season but not really changing. And seeing the softer side of me, hearing my kids say, Mom, you just different. Oh, I can talk to you more now. Like, you're not this person that's rah, rah, rah. And I didn't realize I was these things until I came out of it. We always say we want to be different from our parents, but sometimes we take on the same characteristics and not even knowing. So my kids get to see this transformed, soft version and not Mama Lonnie who came from the projects in DC and got to put on this facade and got to show how tough and strong I am. And I'm this and God's like, no, you my precious little angel. Like, you're soft, you're gentle, you know you're loving. So now they get to see this, they get to witness this. And that has been the most thing that stuck out to me, has been the transformational.
That's good. I love how you were putting emphasis on the word softness, like softness, soft, right? And that's one of the things that I've been saying and that I've noticed since moving abroad. I truly feel like I'm operating or I'm living in my more feminine self. I've embraced my femininity more, especially Bali definitely has that vibe. That's something about Bali, and I could see why God probably drew you there, right? To bring
Yeah.
that soft out of you. Bali is such a unique place. I don't know what it is. I feel like everybody has to experience visiting Bali at least once in their life, you know? And I'll share something if that's okay. In 2022, when I had quit my job, first quit my job, Bali was the place I immediately, I think like 2 weeks after I quit my job, my husband and I hopped on a plane and we stayed in Bali for about a month or so. And let me tell you, it was like the most therapeutic experience of my entire life. Like literally, and then we kind of messed up with the whole SIM card thing, whichever, and we just were like, forget it. So we didn't have an actual SIM card, which meant that while we were out, just out and about, we had no service unless we were just like in Wi-Fi. So it forced us to be present. And that just truly transformed my life, like honestly. And I was like, I have to figure out a way to move over this side of the world
Yeah.
2 years ago. And that's amazing. But I love how you're sharing that whole softness. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think, do you think, I want to ask this question, do you think the environment that you were in, right, in America, do you think that that contributed or there was a direct correlation with the environment that you were in America that why you were so rough?
Oh, yeah. So I grew up in one of the roughest projects in Southeast DC, Berry Farms. I'm very known for high crime, very known for just lack and poverty, you know. So
Mm,
you kind of, when you're growing up in those environments, is shaping you to be something to fit the environment. So if you're in an environment where it's always crime, is always fighting, drama, or where you feel like you have to protect yourself all the time, so now you put on this hardcore cape in a way, like you put on this jacket to kind of show people like I'm tough, you know, because you can't look like you soft, you know. That's kind of what it is. You can't look like you soft. So you don't want people to bully you. You want people, and they kind of teach you that growing up. Like, no, you know, even like with the young black boys, they kind of tell them, don't cry. Don't let people see you weak. So
yeah.
it's what's being told to you. So now you got to put on this mask to be something that you didn't come out your birth canal. So it's forcing you to be something. So it's not until I left the US, come to Bali, where Bali is very soft. You know, Mama Bali has its way of caressing you when you get here. From the time you get off the airport, you already feel Mama Bali literally hugging you and say, you good, you're good. The people, the kindness, you know, Bali is known for its wellness and, you know, being kindness, community. So it embraces you so you can just be your authentic self. So it's not a materialistic culture. It's not a criticizing culture. Where we come from, the US, it's like you're always being criticized. You can never be yourself. Everybody forces you to be something different, even when they tell you be different, but then you tell me to be this person. Like, so it's a very subjective community in the US where everybody wants you to be something that you're not. Yeah.
Right. And isn't it so much freeing now? Like so freeing to just be, right? Just be you.
It's just free,
And not feel the
in my
pressure of
circle.
having to be somebody else.
No, I'm not forced to wear makeup. You know, I love the fact that people see my natural beauty and they don't have to, oh, you got on this and you, no, like in the US, they view beauty as tons of makeup. And then when a person is not wearing makeup, they're like, oh, what happened to this person? They need makeup. And it's like here, people embrace your natural beauty. I get stopped all the time. Oh, can I take a picture? You're so beautiful. I love your braids. No one is making me look like something that I don't want to be.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
so
love that.
free. So my anxiety, I don't have anxiety. I always say I wasn't depressed. I just lived in the US.
Yeah. Yeah, I love those episodes that you do. You're not depressed. You're just living in the US. I'm like, he's right. There's a lot of truth to that. Like, there's a lot of truth to that. And that's how I feel too. Like, I don't wear a lot of makeup. And now I'm not wearing any makeup, some lip gloss and whichever. But like now I think I probably can count on one hand how many times I've put on makeup since moving abroad since last year. Maybe for some pictures or something like that, but that was it. Like I feel, I don't know, my skin also got better too. Like it's like I feel like I'm glowing more. I don't know if it's the food, the weather, being out more, not being really stressed out, whatever it is. But my skin, I don't even feel like I need makeup to. So yeah.
And then we're eating better. So
Mm,
everything is different. You know, I tell
yeah,
people your whole quality of life changes.
yeah, it does. So we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about quality of life too. I can't wait to get dive into the whole quality of life thing. How would you say you've been adapting to the different culture, right? The culture in Bali. I mean, it's a completely different culture from the Western world, from what you're used to, the culture, the language, the way of life. How has it been adapting to that?
Actually, it was pretty good, but of course it's different. They're big on community here. That community here is pretty big. Like housing, for example, you can live on the Balinese housing, right? So in Bali, they have what you call the Balinese homes, where all the families stay on the Balinese homes, but then they rent out rooms. So all of my living, my housing has been at they call them guest houses or homestays. So
Yeah,
that allows you to really immerse in the culture because you can see the day to day, how they live, how they do their spirituality, which is their religion is Hindu. So now you really get to see the prayers, the offerings, how they are. That helps too. Like, wow, they really don't play about family. Community is huge for them. So I was like, wow, they just take you right in, so that kind of struck me a little bit like, wow, like they don't play about their community. So that has been, that's been good. Yeah, but it took me by surprise, like, why are these people being so nice to me? They don't know me, but that's their culture.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
And coming from where we're coming from, most of our stuff is divided. Kids leave at 18, 19.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to live on their own, or your parents are kind of like pushing you out where,
Or they kick you out, literally.
yeah,
I got
and
kicked out.
here, me too. So I've been out since 12th grade. We're here, that's not a thing. Like these are grown people that still live with their families. Yeah, definitely different.
Yeah. Wow. And so, how would you say that? I don't go too far yet, but what would you say is the most like surprising thing about living abroad that you didn't expect? It can be, I guess, good or bad.
Surprising. I didn't realize how many Black people have been doing this life. That
How did you find
surprised me. When I started researching, but
that?
also just seeing how once I got here and got a chance to talk to other Black people, they've been doing this life for a long time. Some people been world travelers, and I'm like, wow. And so young, backpacking, they will call it. But I'm like, I was just taken back, and I've realized that so many people that have been living this life, we all kind of have this same story. Like we're set apart, or you were the black sheep, or you were the person that did things different. That's what I really notice about the groups of people I've been meeting. It's like we kind of all got the same story. You just didn't fit in, and you knew you didn't fit in, and you had to find your people. So often we're in our world trying to fit into places that God never intended us for us to fit in. And then you realize, like, I had to leave my country to find my tribe.
Isn't
So
that
that's
crazy?
definitely, isn't it? And I'm like, everybody I meet, we just get each other. It doesn't matter if I meet people from TikTok. Like, I've met a few people from TikTok. We met up, and I'm like, wow. And we share stories. I'm like, we never even met each other when we was in America, or some of us was living in the same states and didn't know that God was going to shift us to a whole nother part of the world. Not even on the same time zone. We're 12 and 13 hours push forward, and God was going to show me you. Like, so amazing.
Yeah. And isn't it so refreshing to like connect with people who truly get it? They're in the same wave and flow of, energy of things, and you don't feel like you have to like overextend or like over explain yourself or try to convince.
They just get it.
Refreshing. Yeah.
It's so refreshing because now living abroad, and I'm not sure if maybe you're going to dive into this, it's like leaving people behind, having those conversations with your old friends. It's almost like, how do you have those conversations? Because they don't get it. Like, we're here, when we communicate with each other, it just flows. But when I'm trying to communicate with people of my past, it's hard because you're trying to bring them up to where you are, and it's hard because they don't get it. Like, their mindset is way off.
It is, yeah. And at one point, I've learned that I just have to kind of just let it go, let it be, have the conversation, but not to, put too much pressure on it, as if I'm
Yeah.
like, because it's going to be really hard to, for one, you don't want to convince people, right? That's not really our place. People will wake up when they wake up,
Yeah.
you know, and so yeah, I just gotta let it be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So let's talk a little bit about you said you talked about community, right? Because I wanted to talk about how do you find community as a solo traveler, because you're traveling solo.
Yeah.
I know you've shared some things about your faith, Christian walk, Christian community. Can you like share a little bit more about that? Like, how do you
Yeah.
intentionally find community?
And I love how you use that word, intentionally find community, because you can find community, right? Anywhere, but if you're not intentional about it, you pick up anything, right? So I started looking for community before I came to Bali. So joining a lot of the Facebook groups helps a lot, because now you get to, kind of see people, see kind of posts they typically post. What are they talking about? Here in Bali, we have a community called Black in Bali, right? So some of them been here for a really long time,
Yeah.
and it's a good community to start with, because you could come here, immerse yourself in your community, and then also they cater to people who are on vacation, maybe just coming to Bali for a week, or maybe they're here for 2 weeks to celebrate their birthday, or they're doing a retreat here. So now you get to meet other people and inspire them, because maybe they didn't even think about living here, right? So I found that community. And then when I really started getting intentional, and God showing me, like, the community I have for you won't look like you. They're going to be very diverse. Like, so often we say, God, send me my destiny helper, send me just help, but not knowing that your destiny helpers will not look like you. So I've been raised growing up with all black people all my life. So I've never been in circles where that my friend circle looked any different from what I look like. So God literally showed me this Christian community here in Canggu, and everybody looks different from me. But here these people are drawn to me and I'm drawn to them. So now I find myself here in New Tribe, Bali. I think by the second Sunday, I get shifted to the prayer team. And now they're like, you need to be on, you're a prayer warrior. We can feel it. We know it. So now I'm on the prayer team. Now I'm running a connect group that I started right before I went to Thailand. So now I got this way big community that I did not even know that I was going to have, where we're praising and worshiping. Like literally, I just came from the beach from doing praise and worship. We do Bible study. So it's just been a blessing. And I'm sitting in rooms where I'm looking around the room and I'm like, wow, that person from Switzerland, that person is from Netherlands, that person from Tokyo, that person from Malaysia, this person from Barcelona, this person is from Spain, just all of these different cultures, but no one looks like me. And the way they love on me. And I have to say this, you guys, because a lot of people ask me, is there a black community? Is people look like me? And da 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 da. Let me tell you something. Don't put an expectation going into places only looking for you. God may be literally sending you people that don't look like you. You have been around your people all your life. Don't be closed minded. Don't feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to adjust or adapt. No, those people may be the people that will really love you correctly. You've been around your people all your life. God brought me my people. So it's been a blessing to be in rooms where I'm like, wow, they excited about me because some people never met a black American where they really got to hear a story from my perspective of America.
Right. Wow. That's a great way to put it. That is. And first of all, I have to say that I have to come over to Bali, first of all, for that praise and worship on the beach. Okay. Now I'm only 4 hours away. This is one of the reasons why I chose Thailand, because we were back and forth Bali, Thailand, Bali. And we also got the long term visa too for Bali. So we can have like some options. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I need to come over to
Yeah.
some
It's
worship on Bali.
beautiful.
That sounds
We
amazing.
we got some people bring their guitar. I'm a prophetic dancer, so I bring my flag out. So we just worship and let
Amazing.
God's nature just minister to us, and we worship in different ways, but we just go.
Were you there? Were you in Bali in last August? Because before we moved to Thailand, we were in Bali first for about a month. I think August. Yeah. Were you there?
Yeah. Yep. I was here.
Trying to figure out how I did not come across
Yeah. I was following you then.
last year.
Yeah. I remember when you were in Bali.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yep. I
Anyway,
definitely remember that.
well, soon I'm gonna come on over. I need to, yeah,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
connected with. And another thing I want to say is I'm in agreement with what you said earlier, right? You were talking about how sometimes your community are the people who God draws to you to help you, don't necessarily or won't necessarily look like you all the time. And that is so, so, so good. I have to say that the community that we are in now, like the literal community or village that we live in, it's so amazing. Like the people are so amazing. Like you would think that, and I'll get on this topic in a bit. I want to ask you what you feel about this because people always comment on these things. But anyway, the people embrace us here. They embrace our family. They love our baby. They know him by name. They're always like, "Hey, baby," and they're so warm and welcoming to us, even though we are foreigners. We live in a village where it's like 70% locals, Thai people, and like 30% foreigners, right? But it's the locals truly that really embrace us. And it's so refreshing. Like I look forward to taking walks, in the evenings with my son because the atmosphere, it's not like a chaotic. anxious atmosphere. It's just so peaceful and calming, and people aren't in a rush. They're walking their dogs, they'll stop to say hello and actually wait for a response to see how you're doing. Not just like,
Yeah.
hey, bye, that's it. Like you can actually have a conversation. It's so peaceful. I love it, you
Yeah.
know? And yeah, and no, only maybe one person in the village looks like us, but other than
See,
that, nobody else looks like us. And they have still embraced us. So that's so good. Wow. Yeah,
different.
yeah, and he's been thriving here because before he would be very skeptical because it was only just my husband and I really mostly back home, and he would always cry when strangers come around him and stuff. And now he's gotten so used to it, people saying hi to him and all of that. He's gotten so used to it, so it's just been good. It's so good for him as well. I love that for him.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I want to go backtrack a little bit. No, this is what I wanted to say because I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the whole idea of, or like gentrification? People are saying that, foreigners are moving here or there, they're just gentrifying the communities and, people don't like it. They're like pushing out locals. What are your thoughts on that, if you have any?
It's I get it because we come from America and we have had a lot of foreigners to come from their countries, and I get it, but also I feel like too it kind of pushes us to pushes them, not us, pushes them to like get out their comfort zone. So I would speak on like being an American and foreigners would come to our country, things that we took for granted. They will come and more appreciate, right? But then it kind of forced too. Yes, things got more expensive for us, but we needed to see different. We needed to see more development happen. So I feel like, of course, it's going to have its pros and cons from it,
Hmm.
but it does bring in more money, especially us coming here, because the foreigners are the ones spending a lot of the money in their
Hmm.
country. So to me, it helps too, because what if a lot of foreigners didn't come? Do locals spend as much money in their circle to help each other out? And that would be I always think about that too. Like if we wasn't coming over, would they be able to survive as much? Is the money being circulated in the community? Right. So when I think of Bali, like it's very touristy. A lot of their money is being driven because of the tourists, right? So if we wasn't coming over or if we wasn't thinking about living here, would the finances, would they be able to really survive?
Hmm.
I always think of that. I don't know. I don't know if it's a yes or no. It's just something I always think about. Um,
Yeah, yeah. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, and I see it both ways. My perspective on it is like I see it both ways. I do see it as, of course, somewhat of a positive, a lot because a lot of economy they rely on tourism, the tourism money. Countries in the Caribbean, this part of the world too, tourism money. But I can get the whole long term stay thing. But I still see, and I've been doing my research, that the locals are still able to live. There's still communities, and there'll always be communities where locals are able to live. Like they will never. That's why certain countries have certain laws where you can't necessarily own, like maybe like land or certain things like that.
yeah.
And there's locals who are able to still thrive in their local
Yes.
communities. They're still able to afford food. Like, if you're in Thailand, like the locals, like that's their bread and butter, food and everything. And the locals are able to still afford the food. It's still priced at, the local level. So it doesn't necessarily affect them. And then I feel like it creates jobs as well. So I see it as a positive, but I can
Yeah.
see I can see where some areas, I know for sure there are some countries that they feel like the prices are,
Going up. Yeah.
have gone up significantly because of like foreigners. But I mean, if the country welcomes us, they welcome the foreigners. They are giving us the opportunity. They're giving us visas. They're giving us all these things to stay. So I feel like as long as us as, foreigners, we don't go into a country and feel like we are entitled
Yeah.
and, feel like, we're this and we're that and we're respectful, right, of the country, of the
Gotta
culture.
be respectful.
Yeah.
And not boasting, right? Yes, can we afford certain things because maybe our money is coming from online, US sources, right? So I tell people to be very mindful when you are speaking about certain things, refrain from saying, oh, that's cheap. That's cheap, it's affordable for me, like, rephrasing languages,
Yeah.
because sometimes it could come off boastful, like I can do this and I can do that. And
Hmm.
you might be amongst locals who cannot afford these things,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So I just tell people do be mindful of that, being very flashy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And so that's one of the reasons too, when I talk about things, I get excited. Like I always get excited about like the prices, the cost of living. Like this is great. And so I try to not use the word cheap. Also because to me, cheap sounds like it doesn't have good quality as
Yeah.
well. So that's why I think I can probably go back and see that. I never used the word, I really try my best to not use the term cheap, but I will say, like, for us, we find it affordable. We think it's affordable, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah. Saying like, yeah, it's affordable for us because we do get our income still from the US.
Right, exactly. Okay, talking about income from the US, okay, we can probably dive into that a little bit. If you don't mind sharing, like, how do you manage running a business while traveling? Or if you don't mind sharing a little bit, what do you do now? And maybe, like, what did you do leaving, before leaving the US? Has it changed? Has the nature of your job business changed since leaving the US? What are you doing now?
Yes. So I've been in the dance, performing arts industry probably about 20 years teaching, had my own
Wow.
dance studio, choreographer. So when the pandemic, I'm going to call it the pandemic because it all had a plan. So when that happened, everybody, typically probably 80% of people, jobs shifted virtually, right? So in my industry, everybody was trying to figure it out. So everybody was having kids online, dancing, trying to teach because we didn't know what was going to happen. We all in these different dance groups trying to figure out, like, do you still charge tuition? Do you do this? Do you do this? And I heard God specifically tell me, you got to master virtual because you won't return. You have to really master this because you will not return. So that's what I did. The company that I am certified under, they also was doing a lot of trainings to make sure that we kept safety first online, that, really just still doing what we do in person on virtual. So
Hmm.
behold, all of these people start signing up, like, because a lot of studios, people could not handle it. They was like, nope, I'm just going to shut down. I'm going to just wait until see if we go back in person. People did not like Zoom. They couldn't figure it out. Just like the school system, some people did not like it. They feel like they had no control, no classroom management.
Yeah.
It was, you had to be creative on Zoom.
Hmm.
It's not like the classroom where you could kind of throw some stuff in their face and just kind of like do your own thing. We've realized that a lot of our kids was not learning. A lot
Hmm.
of parents realize that, so that's what I continue to do, is teach online. So I still teach, but then when I left, now God's showing me all these other things that I can do virtually. So I created a mentorship group for young girls. I was running that. I started creating digital products such as my Bali travel guide, a move abroad. Now I host monthly move abroad Zoom classes for people who want to be able to do just face to face, ask the questions.
Yeah.
And now I'm launching a women's Daughters of the Kingdom mentorship group in March. So
That's
the income is there. You just got to turn your gift into the income. People always ask me, who hiring? I don't know. I'm the income. I'm the job. So I haven't worked for somebody in years. So I don't know that route. Now, some people do move abroad teaching English and working for people. That's just not my life.
mm-hmm.
I like freedom. I like to be able to kind of schedule my clients. That way I can continue to travel and not be stopped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. You said you were teaching dance. You said you were also teaching like curriculum as well? Like,
Yeah. So when I left, was teaching, which I still do, have my dance. I teach dance, competitive dancers. So I still have them, but then I also do consultations. So I do consultations with dance studio owners, other teachers, still do that. And then when I was in Atlanta, I was an actress while still teaching my clients online. So that gave me the opportunity to free up space and do that, pursue that career. So now I still do one-on-ones where people are like, oh, I want to learn how to get in the industry. I seen you was in Tyler Perry movie 6888. Yes. So now I still get clients. So my stream of income is pretty wide open because I have done so many different things.
yeah. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I want to ask you a couple questions about that too. I did see that you shared that the whole being a cast in a Tyler Perry movie. I still haven't watched it yet. I need to watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, oh my gosh, what was it? Yes, I wanted to say this. That is so true too. Even the other day, I was sharing a video how, people always ask, how am I going to move abroad? Whether it's going to be a remote job, business, whichever. And I always like to share that, like, you got to really focus on your skills and your talents. Right? Sometimes people think they don't have any skills, they don't have any talents, but you'll be surprised if you really tap in. Like, if you really tap in and think about like what your company, right?
Yeah.
Your job is already paying you for, right? Those are some of the skills that you guys can tap into, right? You're already getting paid for it at your job. Think about the things that people come to you for all the time. What are people asking you all the time, right? You can use that and think about the problems that you can solve in the marketplace, right? And create something out of it, right? Create a business out of it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be digital products. Like, I love digital products. I sell digital products too. I love it. It's a great income. But also, I want people to realize that that's not the only way. That's not the only thing you can think about. Maybe a remote based business, right? Even something like a cleaning business, you can actually run remotely. That's something that you can run remotely. So there's a lot of different things. So just tap into that. You gotta be
It's a lot of different things.
yeah.
I always tell people, like, I've met people who tutor. I have a friend who literally helps high school kids get prepared for college, right? So it's so many different things. If you are into fitness, people are doing, one-on-one fitness personal training. You could do group. Maybe you are really fun at dancing and want to start a movement class, yoga, whatever it is, Zumba, you can do, whatever skill that is a need. I went as far as taking people to Etsy and Fiverr to see what are the freelance jobs that people are doing on these platforms. Lord behold, we found so many. There was a lady on there, people hire her to do storytelling for kids, So it's so many different things. What you call it, an empathetic listener. I tell people, if you're good at listening, there are people who have profiles on Fiverr who literally set up and say, hey, if you need somebody to vent to, I'm a good listener. And people are booking them. So it's things like that that you didn't even think of. Yeah, a good listen. See, And he can do a whole profile where people can just call, because we know right now, especially in America, mental health is drowning, is suffering. Maybe you want to start a journal club. You good at journaling. Start a virtual. I joined during COVID. I attended a few virtual journal sessions that were amazing. Because maybe you don't want to be doing this by yourself, but now you belong to a group that you can log in every week at a specific time. But what if you have a love for that? Now you create your own group. So it's so many ways that income can come in. And I think, again, like you said, people don't think of these things because they're like, I don't know if that could be an income. Or they may say, oh, I love to read. You know how many people join book clubs, and then people are like, but will people pay? Yeah. Because how many free Facebook groups are you in and people are not consistent? But if you have a paid group where you're telling them, you're giving them added features and say, hey, we only allow people who really want to commit. And now they belong to a community, not just a Facebook group. So it's the way you word it.
And another thing too, also people will be surprised, contracts, like government contracts. My husband and I, we're always like looking into those things and have bidded on some and stuff like that. Government contracts, people will be surprised of what the government is looking for. Like they will be looking for a virtual instructor, virtual instructors for stuff, therapy, yoga, whichever. Just it's just so much. So that's another thing too that people shouldn't sleep on, like government contracts.
All the time. And I tell people, just make sure when you are going that route, have all your business affairs in order, your EIN number, your LLC, because just like when I taught Zumba and I used to get hired to come once a month for the government, all your stuff got to be in order. You
You did
know?
that too? You were doing stuff for the government too?
Yeah, so when I was in DC, somebody actually, because I was doing it for their company, and they was like, hey, we would love for you to come to our health and fitness day. That's how it started. So I came to one of the government health and fitness day, and it was like, oh, we like her. We want you to come every month. So I got to come in every month.
Yeah.
Right. So that was like, so that's when Zumba was like popping. Everybody was getting certified. Right. So like you said, government always looking for stuff, even private sector, they're always looking for something that people don't even think of.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so true. Yeah. And if you guys are gonna bid on like government contracts, I mean, this is probably gonna be like for a whole nother episode. But sign up for SAM. Go to SAM.gov. Get your cage number, your UEI
Your
number.
duns, all of that.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I do now. Like I specialize in like helping entrepreneurs properly launch their business, properly structure their business, also so that they can be better positioned for funding too.
Mm,
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing, Lonnie. I didn't know that you were doing all those things. You're dabbling into all those things.
yeah,
That's so
all
awesome.
of these things.
It's I love it because I'm such an entrepreneur at heart and I love seeing other women thrive in that space. Like
Yeah.
just to realize that you know what, like having a job is also great. It's a great means to an end, right? And you know, we have to be strategic with that. But there's so much more I believe that we can do, like how we can use our gifts. Like God wants us to use our gifts, you know. And people will say that not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. I get that, but I just really believe that everybody has something unique about them that they can use outside of the workplace. So
Yeah.
I love that we got into that. Yeah, awesome. The whole Tyler Perry movie thing, right? Could you share a little bit more about that experience? Like, how did you get into that?
Yeah.
Especially since
So
you were like an
during the
actor
plan,
before, but
during the pandemic, I always
yeah, because we
say
want to
the
be careful
plan.
of because everything is so censored these days.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, but that was a whole plan because a lot of us, we were in that hustle and bustle. A lot of people didn't get the rest. You know, we were in that matrix. So the pandemic allowed so many gifts to be birthed during that time where you had to sit down. So some of your lost gifts that was like roaming, but you just didn't have time to do. So acting for me was one of them. I was able to get an online acting coach at that time, and I was taking online classes. And I was like, okay, I think I should move to Atlanta. A few of my friends was in Atlanta that moved from DC, and Atlanta was open. Yeah, Atlanta was open. Pandemic what? Shut down what? Curfew who? They were open. They was wide open. So I'm down there getting to see all of these things, and I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I move. I get down there. The first week I got down there, I go to Tyler Perry Studios. I literally was trying to get to through the gate, and then the security was like, "Oh, do you have a booking here? Do you have this?" And I'm like, "No. Do you guys do tours?" They was like, "No. Only way you getting through this gate is if your name is on this list." I was like, "Okay. I thought you guys did tours. I thought I seen on your website you do tours." She was like, "No, but you can stand up this way and like take pictures and stuff." I said, "Okay, girl, I have my anointing oil, the power, the power of the oil." Okay. So I literally bring my anointing oil, literally stand on the property. My daughter is in the car, and I literally get to speaking, praying and speaking life into myself, and I'm seeing the cars just go. I'm seeing people pull out their badges, and she's scanning them, and they going through. And I said, God, if it's in your will that I'll be able to be booked, and when I go through, I will be authorized to go through. 6 months later, I get booked for Zatima. So that was my first booking, was Zatima, which was a spinoff from Sisters. And then from there, I get casted for All the Queensmen. And then from there, The Oval. And then Ruthless. And then 6888. So it's just, yeah. So I've been able to be casted for Tyler Perry stuff 5 times.
Wow.
So that's why I tell people, when you see the vision and when you go after it, it's going to blow your mind. Don't allow anybody to tell you it's not possible. Cause let me tell you, I I just knew I was getting through, but just didn't know what. And not knowing that God was going to bless me more than one time for me to work with Mr. Perry and see how he do things. And just having that experience in 6888 was like the icing on the cake, to be able to say I'm in a movie with Kerry Washington, Oprah Winfrey. Like, powerful to be in the same room where Kerry Washington is our captain in this movie. And just to be honored to say, wow, I was casted as a 6888 soldier. Like, wow, out of thousands of people who applied for that position, and only he casted like 200 of us.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I'm like, wow, God.
Yeah, that's favor.
Yeah,
That's true favor. That's amazing.
yeah. Whatever you want to do, you guys do it.
Hmm.
And be bold about it. Don't look at your past. Don't look at where you came from. And don't let nobody get in the way. And I know it's easier said than done, people say, but actually it's easy. When you have faith in God and you know who you are in God, and you understand that his plans was to prosper you, you move. You don't get permission. You don't ask for permission. You don't, is this okay? I'm not asking you for nothing, because you're not the person who created me. You not who said that his plans was going to prosper me. When you go to people, their plans is to put fear into you. Their plans ain't to prosper you. So I'm not going to go and ask you for permission. I'm going to the source who created me. God, is this for me?
That's
Yeah.
good. That's amazing. And so, what advice would you give to other women who want to start their own business while living abroad? Even maybe you can throw into it, well, I know you just gave a lot of encouragement a while ago.
Yeah.
But what other advice would you give to women who want to start their own business while living abroad in particular? Women who are like, I don't know how.
Yeah. What do you say? Write the vision, make it plain, give it to him. Be very mindful of who you share it with. Be very intentional. Not everybody that's clapping for you, happy for you. Sometimes we get it mixed up and say, oh, they proud of me. Not everybody. Keep it between you and God and launch it. Don't wait to try to perfect it. I know a lot of, we kind of suffer with that syndrome, perfecting it before we launch it. And God said, launch it and you'll start to tweak it as you go. But a lot of people are sitting on so many gifts that God has given them, but they're waiting to perfect it. Ain't gonna happen. Launch it. Even if one or two people buy it or start it, get it. Just do it. Just do it. All of us as entrepreneurs did not start with people just buying or joining and supporting us right out the gate. You have to be deemed as trustworthy. So you have to build trust and integrity for somebody to trust you. Trust your product, trust whatever service that you have. If you're looking for a quick fix, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
It's gonna fall fast. But you gotta do it. You gotta do it. And living abroad, being an entrepreneur, it definitely puts fire under you. Days that I felt lazy in the US where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do that tomorrow. No, this how I eat. I don't have food stamps to rely on. I don't have my Section 8 to rely on, right? It's all on you. We have those different privileges in the U.S. to be able to say, well, I'm an entrepreneur. I mean, I get my Section 8, or I get my food stamps, I get this, or I get this government program, or they going to pay my electric this month. Baby, it's none of that. It's you, and you got to kick procrastination in its face. You got to do it. This all on you. You may not have no family with you abroad, so this is you. So living abroad, being an entrepreneur, oh my goodness, it brings out a different tenacity out of you that you probably have never seen in your life. Because it's you. Even if you come with your boyfriend or whatever, when you come across customs, you coming with your passport. They scanning yours. It's you. So you got to make it happen for you, especially being a solo traveler and an entrepreneur. You don't have time to play around at all. Anything can happen in another country, just like healthcare. People ask me that all the time. When you living abroad, you got to pay that bill right out. It's not like living in the U.S. where you go to the hospital and they like, okay, we're going to bill you later. No, you can't leave that country until that bill is paid.
Yeah.
So
Even if you have some type of like with the international ones, they'll like reimburse you, but for the most part, you still have kind of have to pay.
you got still pay that bill. How many times I've experienced that. So it's those kind of things that I really feel like if you had any type of procrastination or lazy bone just a little bit when you was in the US being an entrepreneur, you're you're not going to be able to do it abroad. It's a whole different ball game. It just because that's the way you eat. You
Yeah.
like funds getting low or business, and you'll be able to pivot quick. That's what I realized too. If something is not working and you keep trying to make it work, you pivot because your funds are running low versus in the US you dragging your feet.
Hmm.
Because again, you got them other sources that, dang, if my lights get turned off, I can go to this organization. They help pay bills. Oh, this organization help pay your rent. If you just no 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 no, you can't do that over here. Can't do that over here. You short. They want their money.
And that's one of the reasons why I need this podcast, the Legally Clueless Entrepreneurs podcast, right? What you were talking about, like you got to just start, right? I always say start with where you are, start with what you have, and start with what you know. Just start. Like you don't
Just
have to be
start.
perfect to start because, like, when you try to be perfect, it's gonna what's the word I want to use? Paralyze you, right?
Yeah, it does.
it's going to keep you stagnant for such a long time when you're trying to have everything perfect to start. Just start.
Just
Because
start.
you learn along the way. People don't understand that you learn along the way. If you don't just start, how do you know? Or if you don't start in the imperfect season, how do you know what to improve on to
Yeah.
make it perfect? You know, like you have to just
Yeah.
start. You have to
Yeah.
just start.
And it made me think about when you said just starting, same way with moving abroad, just do it, right?
Mhm.
Even if you visit that country already, right? You still don't know what may come up, right? You may get there and realize, like, I finished a month here or 2 months. I actually want to visit somewhere else. Just stay
Mhm.
open, but you had to start the process, start the leap. So now you kind of know like how to research other countries when it comes to visas, all of those things because you started. But people who don't start, they don't know how to navigate at all. They just keep talking about, oh, I want to leave. I want to leave. But if at least you started, and maybe you didn't start in Southeast Asia. I know a few people I met here started in Mexico, because they give you 180 days and it gives people enough time to figure things out, so they started, they said, oh, okay, Mexico right there, Costa Rica right there. Let me just start.
Yeah.
You'll figure out the rest and then you'll be able to learn more how this traveling works and being an expat or a digital nomad.
Mhm. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a learning game. Like it's not something that you can just be like, oh, let me figure everything out before I pack my bags. You're
it's not
not.
going to happen. Some of the things you ain't even prep for will come up. It's just what it is. You're going to go, life's still life. I always tell people, no matter if you left the US, you still got certain obligations in the US that you deal with. You still got certain bills that you may pay, your family, if you're responsible, maybe you're a caretaker, partial caretaker, you still got family, all of that. Life's still going life. And you won't know that until you in the thick of it. How do I handle this? This happened. I wasn't prepared for this. Now you know how to navigate to or tell your testimony for somebody else to say, oh, before you leave the US, make sure you do this. I didn't do this because I didn't know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Okay, so let's talk about because I know a lot of people want to know this, right? They're like, I don't know if you want to share. If you don't want to share, that's fine. I can always cut this out. When it comes to like cost of living, like for example, comparing to the US to like now, you said that you're living in kind of like a village,
Yeah.
like a family compound,
Yeah.
and they have like rooms and stuff. Do you mind sharing like what that not what experience is like? I think you shared that a little bit, but like how much does it cost to
Yes.
live and how does it feel to pay whatever you're paying compared to where you are?
Yeah, I love that. I love sharing this. So where I stay at now is a studio, basically equivalent to what we would call a studio, where it's a room. Everything is in the same place. You have your dresser. We have everything is already furnished to. Let me say that. So when you walk in, everything is already there. So your dressers, the bed, the sheets, all of that. So I pay $400 a month, and it's all utilities included, and including Wi-Fi as well. So I don't pay any additional house bills. Now I do pay a cell phone bill. My cell phone bill can range from 15 to 20 USD a month.
Hmm.
So that's the typical in Bali for guest houses. It can go lower. Like I knew somebody, well, my first place, not my first place, probably by my third place, I'm sorry. That place was $275 a month. But I paid electric. My electric bill was like 15 US dollars. But that was it. That was a homestay, Balinese homestay, studio versus the one bedrooms in the US may start at 1,000 and up. I know the place I used to live in Atlanta, studios was 2,000. And
Hmm.
it's not furnished. So now you got to go to Walmart or your good old IKEA, your good old Tajay, and start decorating your place. So now you're about to spend another few thousands of dollars trying to do that part of it. You're glad that you got a place, but now you need somewhere to sleep. Versus here, you walk right in to stuff already there. So that's the blessing too, is like that helps relieve stress too, because now you're not trying to figure, I need to get pots, I need to get pans, I need to get this, and I need to get, no. And a housekeeper comes included. So they clean my room every day. So every day I leave, I come back.
Every day?
Yeah, mine's is every day. Yeah,
I
mine's
was
is
trying to hide
every,
myself back. I was
yeah,
trying to hide myself backstage, but the thing won't let me right now. I don't know where it's at. So let me put on a little lip gloss real quick.
lower lip. Yep, so every day.
Wow. Wow. So you have house cleaner, water, electricity, internet, studio. It has like a little, like a stove top or something.
Yep, have the whole kitchenette. Also, when we lived in America, we used to have the little deer park, little water system with the hot and cold water
Okay. Yeah.
system. I have one here. I don't pay for it. They supply the water, right? But back home, that was a service, right? So if you wanted one of those water, machines, you have to set up a subscription where they would come and drop those bottles of water at your door. Here, I don't pay for it. It's all included. It's all included. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm sure how a lot of people are like screaming excited right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I could pay $400 to live somewhere.
Yeah. So my cost of living typically can range from 1,000 to 1,500 USD for the month. And rent, that's including rent. I eat out every day, so I don't cook.
Hmm.
Cost of food is drastically lower. So of course, like a Uber Lyft, what we would call Uber Eats or Grubhub, they have a food delivery, really inexpensive, or I can eat the street food or anything like that. But the food is very inexpensive.
It's interesting how, if you say you eat out a lot in America, it's like, what? Like, you don't cook? Like, it's kind of like a judgmental thing. I mean, I used to judge
Yes.
people who say they don't cook.
Yes.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I'm like,
Yeah. Because remember, that's kind of the culture. It's like, you don't do what? But
mhm.
here, even in Thailand, that's normal. That's
It's the
like,
way of
oh,
life.
that's the way of life.
Yeah. You just go out, you buy your dinner, and you come back with your family. And I mean, people cook, but it's like most people just eat out, street food.
Yeah.
Like that's the business here. Food is literally what brings people together. The business.
Especially Thailand.
Yeah. Oh man, it's the land of
Yeah.
food, man. It's food
Food
everywhere.
everywhere, everywhere. And even when we have gatherings here, it's easy to call Grab and deliver this amount of, pad thai or chicken
Yeah.
saute. Is very inexpensive. So you can literally feed so many people and still be under $25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
it's different. Yeah, that's why now it's like I'm like I'm not gonna be cooking like if I don't have to.
No.
It's
Only thing I
everything.
get from the store is like fruits.
Hmm. That's a staple in
No,
our house, fruits and stuff like that. And
fruits,
we still we
vegetables.
hmm yeah, and we still make our baby's food from scratch at home, like steam his food and stuff and fruits. But other than that, mostly, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, we get that break from cooking, huh? Isn't it great?
It's a blessing. And, even when I was in the US, I used to pay a cleaning service to come once a month. Yeah, I would typically pay $200. And it's a part of my rent. And every day, I can't believe it. Every day I come back in.
Every day, right? At first, I thought you meant like maybe once a week or like.
Yeah. My last place, she came once a week. The place before that was every day and breakfast was included.
And how much were you paying there?
I was paying about $520.
Wow, that was another family compound.
Yep, another
Okay.
family one. They were
So
more
basically,
brand new, more modern too.
so you guys, if you're watching this, I guess that's another hack, like family compounds, because I know like now,
Yeah.
now Bali's like getting popular, and so a lot of people know about Bali, and so the prices kind of have gone up, but those prices are good to know that it's
Yeah. Yeah, so it's different ways of housing here. You got the guest house, which is the Balinese kind of compounds, you would call it, or you could do homestays, same thing, or villas, or hostels.
mhm.
Some of you guys may be new to that term. Hostels is more of a dormitory. I know back home we kind of think like, what? Share a room? Oh, I wouldn't do that. But you don't realize like amongst the people you are around, a lot of them live in those or co-living. I will call it as well. So some terms use it hostels and some people say co-living. And one of the things I like about co-living spaces is it provides you that community. So it's like living with the locals, right? But most of the people that are in co-livings are like other foreigners. So now you get to be around them. So if you're a person that's like, I want community, I don't know how I'm gonna find it, those are like the typical places you can find community when it comes to housing,
Hmm.
is those co-living spaces.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so let's talk about health and wellness, right? How do you stay physically and mentally healthy while traveling? I know you're a dancer, so I'm sure that that's included. Dancing.
Yeah.
How do you stay mentally healthy and just physically healthy every day?
I walk a lot. And it's so funny when I go on TikTok and I do my lives and people always ask me, you walk a lot, you don't drive. Where typically in the US is almost like frowned upon. When you hear people, oh, you on a bus, you don't have your own car, or you walk, it's a judgment thing. We're here in Southeast Asia, that's typical. In Bangkok, when I was there, the typical way to get around is through Grab or public transportation or, walking. So you notice in these places, people don't suffer with a lot of the health issues that we suffer with, far as like diabetes, high blood pressure, those kinds of things, where in America, that's typical, right? So yeah, I walk a lot. Also, the food quality is different here, right? So that helps because when I was living in the US, remember I told you guys earlier I had gained a lot of weight. Now here, I'm still in my 145. When I was in Atlanta, I got up to 210. Yeah, so now you got access to what I call the farm to table experience, not farm to the warehouse filled with pesticides and then give it to you. So now you're not dealing with a lot of hormonal issues because of food. You can stay healthy. The environment is less anxiety, and I drink coconut water all day. Like that's my jam. I love me some coconut water.
Yes.
Mango sticky rice. I like all of that. So I love all of the good fruits and vegetables. So even
Yeah.
when that sweet tooth come, I can easily grab a piece of fruit. It's so easy. It's so accessible. It's so affordable. Where
Yeah.
in the US you kind of you like you picking and choosing. Here is a way of life.
It's amazing because that's what I wanted to ask you too about the food, like how the food has impacted you, your overall wellness, your health and wellness.
It's just so different. And being in Thailand too, self-care is cheaper. So you got massages as low as $5.90 to your top tier, spas that's like $12 an hour. Right. So
Hmm.
we're in America, to get a massage is like $100, $200 an hour. So self-care
Hmm.
beauty treatments here, I remember getting my teeth where they filled in the gaps. I literally spent $125
Wow.
because I wasn't
You
wearing my
know,
retainer and my teeth started shifting. They went right in, right here in Bali. I did a cleaning, $17, and then paid extra for them to fill in the gaps. Very accessible,
yeah,
easy.
yeah. It's like you don't have to think twice about it. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I love here, Miss Lonnie. I love the accessibility to the food. I literally feel like when I walk out the village, there's the farmers market. There's literally fresh fruits, veggies. It's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. I don't
And
care
it
how much money
changes
you have.
your immune system too. It's like it shifts the way you feel to see when you come out your place. It's like, look all these vibrant colors of fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, it makes me happy.
Yeah, you like, look at this. And you see them just so used to it and they got a smile on their face and it shifts. But when you're in an environment where that's not being done, you aren't so happy. You're down. You're like depressed.
Yeah, because you gotta get in your car and drive to the grocery store just to get some mangoes.
And then they're expensive.
Yeah, or sprayed with something. You never know.
Yeah, you just never know. Which then again affects your affect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. But you're right about the whole driving thing. Yeah, that's what I was saying that the other day. Like I don't feel I mean, we like not having a car here. I mean, I don't know, maybe in the future we may decide if, as we grow our family, maybe for convenience or maybe to go down to the beach, maybe we can just rent for a while. But overall, like the day to day has been fine. Like it has really been fine. Like we don't have an issue. If we're traveling all together as a family, maybe with your nanny or something, we'll, get a grab car and go. Or if it's just my husband and I, we just walk, maybe take a tuk-tuk or we both grab bike,
Yeah.
BTS. It's just so easy and fun.
And
It's crazy too.
fun.
I used to be scared. I used to, do you jump on, have you ever driven on a grab bike?
That's the only transportation I take. But when I was in the US, you couldn't pay me to get on nobody's motorcycle.
Right, right. That's like,
I wouldn't drive with nobody. I was terrified. But now you can't take me off the bike. And they drive like a vet out of.
oh my goodness.
I be just on there like people stay ask me, you don't drive? I said, no, baby, I'm a passenger princess. I'm just on the back. And they be just a weaving. They be weaving out of different traffic. Every day I feel like I got casted for season 8 of Fast and the Furious.
Oh
Like,
my
my
goodness.
God, y'all need to pay me because I ain't signed up for this. But I feel like a little kid.
I know. I'm still scared to drive on like main. I won't take it too far though, like on the main roads where there's a lot of like lands and stuff, and like, but like locally to the market stuff, maybe the salon, whichever I'll do. But it's crazy that you said that too, because that's how I felt. Like in the U.S., like you couldn't pay me to get on like a motorcycle. I would never. I always said that that's one of the things that I will never do. I will never get on somebody's motorcycle. Here I am in Thailand, just hopping on the grab bike.
It's,
It's so
being
funny.
free is like, wow.
Mm.
Yeah. It's so funny the things you wouldn't do back home and now your mind is so much open because it's like your nervous system is like, we okay. You okay now. You okay.
It is. It does feel like that. It does feel like that. And I've heard so many other people say the same thing, and it obviously it's just not me. It's just not me. I thought it was just me, but it's just a thing. Like you feel your levels are just.
It just sets itself and say, we okay.
Hmm.
You don't have to even walk in at night. Like it's 11 over here, right?
Right.
I can go, like I can leave the guest house and go to the store. A lot of of course, in Thailand too, a lot of these markets, they open all night long.
The night market. Yeah, they're open now.
Yeah, I'm like, why are we selling pieces of watermelon at 1 o'clock in the morning? Who's coming through here, people? Y'all still cutting up pineapples. It's 4 a.m. When do you sleep? And you feel safe leaving out your place to go to 7-Eleven, going to a night market, and walking back and not even thinking twice about it. Not even like none of that. It's so wild. It's so wild. One day I got up when I was in Thailand. I said, I got a taste for some noodles. No, it was not the noodles. It was the cheese, the grilled cheese that everybody get from 7-Eleven. They make it for you. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
it already, they call them the cheesies. I kept seeing so many TikTok videos about you gotta get it, you gotta get it. And I had a taste for it one day in the middle of the night. I get up, the 7-Eleven right there outside of the place. And they cook it for you. They grill it for you.
Yeah, I noticed that the 7-Elevens here, yeah, if you get anything like that, they'll make it for you there.
I pay less than like 60 cents, like 60 cents. And that's the way people live too. I've been at many Airbnbs and stuff, or, communities, condominiums, and 7-Eleven is at the bottom. And some people live out of the 7-Eleven. Like that's the way they eat. That's normal. Where back home, you tell somebody, oh, I get all my stuff from 7-Eleven, they're going to look at you crazy like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
But that's the way of life over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So different.
Yeah. Would you say that living abroad changed your perspective on self-care and work-life balance? You know, sometimes people say there's no real thing as like balance, like work-life balance, but what's your perspective on that, like self-care and like work, living abroad?
I feel like it's way more balanced now. And you probably can speak to this too, because we're so far in time, right? We typically have our days is longer. For some reason, it's longer because I still see clients on Eastern time.
Hmm.
So now I'm finished by like 8 in the morning. So my whole day is, I can be at the beach all day. I can be at the cafes all day. We do a lot of co-working meetups. We do content day here. We do Bible study in the middle of the day. So it's more to do. And
Yeah.
self-care is easier being abroad for me.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I need to come over to Bali to do some of those content days with you.
Yeah, we do a lot of content days. A lot of people, well, Bali has a lot of digital nomads
Hmm.
versus Thailand is more expats. So most people who come to Bangkok or any parts of Thailand, they're going in at work. They going to do English teaching. With Bali, most of us work digital.
Hmm.
So we can easily meet up. So when somebody posts in the group, hey, anybody gonna be here? I'm at this cafe. You pull up. It's already like 20 something people already there.
Hmm.
Like that's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do love being in the future. I was saying, I love, love, love,
I
love
do
being in the
too.
future.
I do too.
It's so nice because it's like right now, okay, it's what 10 a.m. about to be 10 a.m. Eastern time. It's like 10 p.m. here. So it's like anything that I have to do immediately for my Eastern time morning, during that time, I'm doing it now. It's just like it just feels like I don't have to really rush anymore. It's like at the end of the
Yeah.
day, when I'm like relaxed, I'm done with my day. I've taken care of myself. Now I get to deal with whatever, whether that's sending emails, responding, whatever, getting on meetings. I get to do that at the end of my day. I've taken care of myself. So it's kind of nice being in
Yeah.
the future. It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if it would have felt the same if I would have went to Mexico or Costa Rica, something that's still
Okay.
kind of on their time zone in America.
Okay. Hmm. I get that. Nice, nice. Okay, okay. We covered a lot here. We
Yeah.
covered a lot. What were the other things that I wanted to ask you? I wanted to go over some reflection and stuff like that. Anyway, what would you say that you miss most about the US, if anything, and what do you appreciate about not being there anymore?
The one thing I miss more is my children. That was one of the hardest things that I had to like, wow, okay, God, really? My people who really know me now, I don't play about my kids. So, but it was necessary, right? It was necessary for me to heal in a better environment. So that's one thing I would miss. And because I'm from DC, we known for our Maryland crabs. I miss crabs. I miss a seafood boil bag. But now I've been vegan for since the beginning of the year, but I still miss that. I still miss them sauces. Still miss them sauces. I think that's probably about some of my friends that I had there, but of course I keep in contact with a lot of them that I'm real close to. Most of them was in my Christian community. And then you said one of the things that I can appreciate
About not being there anymore.
the crime.
Mm.
That's one thing. When people send me stuff, or I see stuff on social media and the constant criticism, oh, I can so enjoy being in circles where people aren't talking about people and gossiping. It's like a different world. Now I'm in circles where people are just talking about how they can help somebody. How could, what can they do to pray for somebody or, just different.
Yeah.
Coming in America, everybody got something to say. It's very opinionated, very materialistic. So I don't miss any of that. I can appreciate that. I can, what we call it in the States, a little moo dress. I wear these a lot. I love the flowy, that's a Southeast Asian thing, girl. They got the little flowy dresses. We call them moo baby. I can appreciate that they, yeah, see, that I knew it. I knew it. I seen it. I said, oh, that's my style. Yeah, I can appreciate that. That we don't have to fit in a box and everybody can respect what everybody wears and do, and people are not projecting and want you to fit in their world. Yeah.
And so, what's been the biggest lesson that you've learned since leaving the US? Like that aha, maybe for you.
Be slow to speak. Think what is the word? Slow to speak, quick to hear.
To listen. Yeah.
Is it the other way around? Blah 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 blah
Yeah, I
blah.
think
Don't be
quick to
so
hear,
quick
quick
to
to listen.
speak. Yeah. Because now being around different cultures, we in the US, we always be so quick to speak. We don't hear. We don't listen to understand. We're listening to respond quickly. So we never really digest when people are speaking to us. We're already in our mind thinking how we're going to respond to this. Or we distracted a lot by the devices. We're here, you gotta be intentional too because of the language barrier. A lot of friends of mine, they come from different backgrounds, so you really, really gotta be aware and intentional to listen because of the different dialects, the different cultures, the way people phrase certain things. So that's been one of my biggest lessons. It's funny because a lot of people always say, Lonnie, you such a great listener. I love coming to you. And I just be looking like I am. And I didn't realize that until I had to slow down to declutter how we were in the US, where we project a lot. Like I said, people are talking, we're already thinking about the next.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's something I'm still working on now too.
Yeah. But I think because I've been living abroad a little over a year, and of course, some things come a little bit faster than the other, how you're decluttering things, how God is like stripping you from like a lot of the old habits. And there's certain things that I'm still working on that I'm like, because again, you're around all these different cultures. So we're quick in the US. One thing I will say, we're quick to be on our feet about stuff. Where sometimes I'm in circles and I'm like, you didn't get what they just said, you missed it. It went right over your head. Because we were always in a fast pace, quick. So we pick up on things. It's like our street smarts pick up quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to somebody who's considering living a similar lifestyle? Someone who's considering moving abroad, maybe Bali in particularly, but it doesn't have to be Bali, but just in general moving abroad. I know a lot of people recently have been torn between where they want to go, Thailand, Bali, Mexico, wherever. But what's that
Yeah.
one piece of advice you'll give to people who are considering moving abroad?
Research, research, research. I know a lot of us are content creators. We put out our experiences. And a lot of times when people are coming on our social media platforms, like, let me say TikTok, they kind of sometimes rely on our information. And that's why I always tell them, use these videos as motivation and inspiration. That's it. It doesn't replace you doing the legwork. You still got to do the legwork because no visa is made equal, right? No housing is made equal. We can share our journey, right? And what we went through, but it doesn't replace you having to do your own research. Research is key. If you're not even willing to research, how in the world are you going to manage this life abroad? Not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do it. So that's what I would say. They're not going to be able to manage this life if you can't do the legwork. Because you're gonna have to use your common sense. If you're still on people's things saying, do that country need a passport? If you're asking questions with, stuff that you should already know, I feel like it's just not for everybody. So again, research. I can't say it enough. Research.
That's good. Yeah, because I see sometimes I come across people asking certain questions, and I'm like, you know, you can definitely look that up.
Yeah.
You want to be
Much. And it goes back to what I said earlier, that legwork. If you're not willing to do that legwork, You don't need to leave America. Stay put.
That's good. That's so good. All right, Miss Lonnie. So, are there any more countries that you're dreaming of exploring during this time living over here? Any goals
Vietnam,
that you're working on? Anything else you want to do?
Panama,
When do you plan on going there?
Vietnam. I want to probably I know I want to go to Vietnam this year. I've been looking up different like churches over there and to see if they do, and they normally do mission work because that's when I came to Thailand, that's what I was doing for 2 months. So they have a big Christian community in Bangkok as well too.
Do you know when you plan on possibly going to Vietnam?
Maybe this summer.
Oh, okay. Okay, nice. Nice. We're planning on going maybe next month, like February.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about February because the Exodus, they're going to do their meetup
Good.
in Da Nang. So I look at flights.
Do you remember the date for that? I have to look it up.
No, I don't. I don't have my phone. My phone. Well, my phone did. I forgot the dates. I can send it to you, but I know it's February.
Okay. I have to double check. I know we were planning on going in March at first, but then we're like, we're just gonna go in February since it's our anniversary to like our 5th year anniversary.
all of that.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right, you guys. Well, this was a great episode. Again, thanks for being here.